What's up, y'all? We are back, episode 11 now of the Twins Out of the Park Baseball 24 series. We are, 85 games into the season, and the Twins sit at 51 and 34. It's been pretty valiant season from the team. A lot more adversity than we had last year, I'll tell you that. We've had a slew of major injuries. We discussed the Nola one last episode. But Brooks Lee's been out for a good amount of the year. We lost Carlos Correa for a bit, and he's still not back. Emmanuel Rodriguez has been in the IL a couple times now, so it looks like that's been 3 times. I put him on the IL, and we've had guys step in. Some of them have been good. Some of them have been bad. So we'll kind of go through that at this point. So Palencia leading our team. He's a stud. So glad I gave him that extension. He's on pace for 46 and 116 with a 315 average, 6.4 WAR, and hasn't been good at third base. But he wasn't really good at second base last year either. So, and I'd rather have, my better defender at second base, I guess, in like Schreier, who's been fine, and also Austin Martin, who is also on the IL, I believe, or something will happen with him. What the heck? No, he's playing third, sorry. So, actually, we have Palencia at shortstop right now. I forgot to mention that because our entire middle infield is out. I brought 3 guys into the season who could play shortstop, being Correa, Shoemake, and Lee, and all 3 are currently out. So, we're having to go to Palencia with a 65 infield range to play shortstop. And, at shortstop, he's only played 5 games, but, whatever. We have to make it through this little stretch here, I guess. Offensively, we're second in runs scored somehow with this, hosh-posh of players. This is actually all levels, so let's just go to the major leagues. So, it's been the Palencia DiMartini show, basically. These 2 dudes have been stellar for me. The only 2 regulars with over 3 WAR at this point. Buxton's turned it around big time since we last checked in. He's been, on fire and still has the wrecked injury history, but he's been mostly healthy besides that one little trip to the IL. He was day-to-day for a week, so I put him on the IL. And they wound up missing 5 more days, so that worked out fine. He's back now. Jansen's been awesome again. He was doing much better at one point, but come back to earth, but still, solid. Calabrese has been good, just as good as last year. I played him a little bit more against lefties, and he's actually held his own, so good on him. Mason Auer has been kind of the other side of that platoon. I like his base running. His defense is good and right, so I'm cool with him there. Spencer Jones has been up and down. 156 WRC plus when he's up here, so he's playing left field against righties, and we called up Yasser Mercedes. We called him up for a little 2-game stint, didn't get a hit, and we called him up again recently to kind of be the other side of that platoon. And he's played well the last couple of games, so happy with that. Schreier's been up, been pretty solid. Austin Martin's been a disappointment after a couple good seasons in a row. Coming off our bench, getting a little more playing time. His ratings have dropped. So we'll see what his future holds. Wallner has been really up and down. He got off to a bad start, heated up again, and now it looks like he's cooled down a bit, but we don't have many other options at this point. Antonio Gomez got the call up because he was crushing AAA, and David Garcia was hot garbage. So then we called up Aurel Vera, who's like our last out infielder because he could kind of play shortstop. And Denzer Guzman, who is kind of our other infielder. He's also hurt down in the minors. So, it's been like the perfect storm of our middle infield all getting hurt at once. So, we go to like pretty deep into the Twins minor league lore, I guess you can call it. But, cop just went by. Probably heard that. So, that brings us to the 51-34 record, mostly led by our pitching, which Joe Ryan has regressed pretty substantially since his good start. And I don't know. I'm going to have to upgrade that position because I don't trust him at all. But Cole Henry, Zach Cowher, and Max Fried have all been really solid, especially Henry and Cowher. Like, wow, like incredible seasons from these two. So they're leading their rotation right now. A couple of young guys. Huang has been horrible. You know, the FIP indicates he's probably a better pitcher than a 6.46 ERA, but the results have not been there for sure, especially after his All-Star season. Kind of reminds me of Keegan Aiken when we had him, and he made the All-Star team. Then the bullpen has been kind of a giant mess besides that. Duran lost his closer's role after this one-out, 6-run implosion against the White Sox. He had a couple blow-up games, and I kind of got tired of watching him blow them, so I've taken him out for now. I'm sure he'll be back in the closer's role, but we put in Hernandez. That pushes Dean to the 8th inning, and Chase Petty, a Rule 5 pick, to the 7th inning, mostly because he's been my third most reliable reliever this season, despite some iffy peripherals. But then Henches has been fine. We called up Liendo. He's been good in 3 2/3 innings for what that's worth. And Connor Phillips has been up for a little bit. Again, the peripherals look better than the results, so we're going to roll with him. But we've had a kind of slew of guys come up. We called up Lyon Richardson, and he was horrible in a third of an inning. I sent him right back down. Not going to play around with that. Cantanario, who had a great year last year, got off to a rough start. I haven't called him back up, although he probably will get a call up in the coming days, I would say. And this Luis Carrasco guy, signed him to a minor league deal with this $1.2 million if he makes the major league roster. He did, and he was fine when he's up here as well. And yeah, David Garcia was horrible for me in 64 at bats. So, and yeah, just the injuries kind of taking their toll on the team for right now. But we are at July 8th, so I think it's a couple days after I left off last time. And looking at the trade block, I mean, again, I don't really know how to improve this team unless we want to make some, substantial moves. Brian Reynolds would be a cool target if he wasn't making $39 million for some reason. Luis Garcia is a cool player, but is he better than any of my infielders? I don't think so. And yeah, I mean, I think we're going to kind of just roll with what we've got and hope these guys come back and they're healthy. Maybe get Nola back at some point late in the season. That's doubtful, but, it's possible. Is this team as good as it was last year? Absolutely not, even though it's essentially the same team. We haven't had the same injury luck, but, the hitting's still good. The pitching's still generally good, minus the bullpen, but kind of talked about how I think that's going to correct itself a little bit. Duran can't be this bad. Huang can't be this bad, I would imagine. So, yeah, we will sim ahead and see if we do anything at the deadline and get back to you guys. All right, so we're back. The first-year player draft just concluded. We'll get into that in a second and go over the main picks, I guess. We don't have to go through them all, but, just the important ones. So, All-Star game. So, Zach Cowher and Cole Henry both make it as starters. Aaron Nola also makes it. Would have been the starter, but obviously he's injured, so that is unfortunate. Danny Jansen makes it as the catcher. Looks like he's on the bench for Adley Rutschman starting. DeMartini will be a first baser representative. I'm trying to see who's starting here. It doesn't look like any of these first basemen are starting. Interesting. Brooks Lee makes it. Kind of a, okay season. I don't know if he deserved to make it, but we'll take it nonetheless. Palencia, obviously, I think he was the highest vote getter. Carlos Correa also makes it, and none of our outfield did, but, pretty crazy representation there. And just shows you how, good this team is, even if we are, maybe underperforming just a little bit. But, yeah, last game before the All-Star break is today. And before we do that, let's go into our draft. what happened this year. So first round pick, 33rd overall, we took this guy Kevin Hood, high work ethic, high leader. Looks like he'd be a stud if he develops into that, but only 18 years old, so who knows about that. Second round, we took a more developed bat, high leader, good speed, could be a decent player for us. Third round, we took another high school bat, Dave Rutt, could be a potential player for us. The only thing I saw with Rutt is he's a ground ball hitter, so not the best. But then we went pitcher. We went with a high school arm. Could develop into something. Who knows? High work ethic, so that always plays well with the random talent change. We took a college shortstop / third baseman / can play the outfield as well. Terrell Barsley, again, a more developed guy just to fill out the system. And then, none of the other guys were really crazy. This guy was interesting. A more developed college arm, 22 years old. Could potentially be a bullpen piece for us or something. We got him in the 7th round. And then toward the end, I was kind of taking a lot of high school guys, especially high school starters and relievers, just because those guys, they have more time. Maybe we strike gold with that. So that's that. And let's sim one more game. We're at the All-Star break now, and we have good news. Emmanuel Rodriguez is due back. I'm just going to have him be on a rehab assignment until we come back in a couple days from the All-Star break. And then he'll be back on the team. I think we're looking good coming into the second half. Correa should be back soon. That's unknown when exactly, but, Shoemake's due back in a week and a half. Brooks Lee will be back right after the All-Star break. And Nola, whatever. Unfortunate, but we'll make it work. For the deadline, we'll probably look to pick up another starter. Joe Ryan, I don't know if he's cutting it. He's a free agent after the season anyway. Connor Phillips has not made a start for me, but I'm going to slot him into the rotation for now. Maybe we'll try Huang in there. It can't be worse than Joe Ryan has been. So we did call up Cantorino again. He made one appearance and was good. So, hopefully we can get this bullpen back on track and playing like they did last year. So we'll sim ahead a little bit, probably to the deadline, and get back to you guys. Okay, so here we are, end of the regular season here in October of 2027, and pretty cool stuff going on here. So our stud Carson DiMartini actually wins the Triple Crown with 44 bombs, 135, 9 RBIs, and a 325 average. Incredible season for him. He'll most likely win MVP. I don't think anyone's really close to him in WAR. Doesn't want a long-term extension. I may look into that in the offseason. But, we just signed Palencia, and he actually tied DiMartini for home runs. So not a bad year from him, of course. And, his defense is bad, but I don't even care at all. So we wind up finishing 105-57. We win, our last bunch of – wow, okay, this is a lot more than I thought, actually. So we won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games in a row, and 14 of 15. And if you want to go back farther, 16 of 18 to end the season. So pretty insane with, this team, which has been banged up by injuries all year. And pretty incredible that we made it this far. And if you're checking in on Derek Mitchell, I kind of thought he was going to get stuck down in high A. Had a couple in, incredible season overall. Hit 44 home runs in the minors, and he'll get called up to AAA next year. And he cut down his strikeout rate to 30%. So really cool from him. Looking forward to the playoffs, we have some injuries. Aaron Nola is due back in 4 days, so he'll be placed on the AL, whatever series this is. This will be the ALDS, I suppose. Looks like we had a retirement from the staff. And before I forget, let me extend my minor league personnel. Oh, they're all extended. Cool. And looks like our team trainer, he's been pretty good. This year's been rough, but, we have some pretty bad, guys with health overall. So Heath Phillips, definitely going to extend him. Our pitching's been incredible since he came on, and I believe that's our only guy. So, again, looking ahead to the playoffs here, we have, let's see who will be playing, just skimming ahead a couple days. Nola is back, and we will be playing Oakland. So, let's do this. Throw Nola on the active roster, and we will go up to this Oakland game. And Mason Hour also back. That is cool to see. He'll probably make the playoff team. Although we had some guys we can go over really quick, kind of like end of season stats. So we talked about DeMartini, awesome year, 8.4 WAR, pretty incredible. Played 161 of 162 games. Palencia played 160 of 162, 6.4 WAR, crazy season from him. Manuel Rodriguez puts up 4 WAR in only 106 games, a 128 WRC plus. Played a lot of center field, but was competent enough, I suppose, for a guy that isn't a center fielder, and was good in left again. So, love to see that out of him. Calabrese, another really strong season. Wound up playing 124 games. He's good for a couple stints on the IL every year. But 285 average, walking 10% of the time. Awesome for our leadoff hitter. Correa, he dealt with, a couple injuries throughout the year. So he's back now. But he hasn't been, he's been out for about 10 weeks of the season. Only played 92 games, but put up 3.7 WAR while he's out there. His defense has declined, and his health is also declined. He's fragile, so move to third base may be in the works next season. And we'll get to that, in the offseason and figure that out. This is also all levels, so let's do this. Brooks Lee, great season from him. 126 WRC plus. He just keeps doing it. Love having him in the lineup. He's Mr. Consistent, out there pretty much every day. Danny Jansen, awesome season, 3.5 WAR as our catcher. Close my window really quick. 24 bombs and a 107 WRC plus. Yasser Mercedes has been up with the team, and, he was pretty good for, not being fully developed. 0.6 WAR in just 33 games. I'll take that out of him for his first taste of the majors. Cody Schreier was fine when he's up here. He'll probably take over that Austin Martin role next season, because Austin Martin is pretty bad. His ratings are decreased. He has an option still, because I didn't demote him at all this year. It's good to know. And then Bryn Shoemake, 2.2 WAR, wound up playing 109 games, 24 steals, so not bad on him. And then Antonio Gomez was, bad, but so is David Garcia. So the backup catcher spot has been a black hole throughout this whole series. We go to the pitching, and we'll sort by WAR, I suppose. Zach Hauer wound up throwing 165 innings in really his rookie year. Yeah, it'll be qualified as his rookie year too. And he may be a runaway winner of the Rookie of the Year award, and maybe Cy Young. He led the league in WAR. Our WAR 5.7. Suppressed the home run ball well. Cole Henry, a huge bounce back year after a mediocre season last year. Wound up putting up 4.2 WAR, a 153 ERA plus. Doesn't really give us the length. He never really went over 5 innings, but he was fine. Max Fried kind of turned into my workhorse. 98 ERA plus, not great, but he threw 177 innings for us, so I can't be too upset with that. Hernandez stepped into the closer's role and was great, 2.31 ERA, and he wound up picking up 25 saves. So between him and Duran, we had, 64 saves? No, 54 saves. 64 would be crazy. Noah Dean was fine, not as good as he was last year, but similar peripherals, so just some bad BABIP luck at 374. Duran, we kind of mentioned this. He was pretty bad all year for us. The FIP is much better than the ERA. The BABIP, again, inflated quite a bit, which could have led to some of that. He's a free agent, and he won't now he's willing to extend. That's interesting. He didn't like his relationship with the manager before, but maybe that changed after he had a rough year. But, I mean, at that price, there's no way I can bring him back. Chase Petty, our Rule 5 pick, was incredible for us. Probably our second best reliever. Yeah, just overall great season. Suppressed the home run ball like crazy. 191 ERA plus. So really good on him. Liendo, who was the guy who had like the crazy scouting increase at the beginning of the year, went from a 20 overall guy to like, an actual player. And he was awesome. Could see him in the closer's role next year, quite frankly, because he was good. And I think Hernandez, he has 2 more years left to control. Joe Ryan, disappointing year, but he was much better out of the pen. Henches was fine. He was good. A couple of good years in a row after that miserable 2025. And then Huang made 1 start at the end of the year and is really good. And his numbers wound up being okay. League average pitcher. So that has some value. Song was definitely not what we envisioned, but did come on strong when he started coming out of the pen a little bit more. He'll be with the team next year, but in what regard, I'm not sure. And Cantanario was pretty rough. He'll get another shot next year, but, you can't be giving up 3 home runs per 9. But anyway, I'm kind of doom and gloom, but successful season, our best regular season despite all the injuries. Also, Byron Buxton went out for 3 months at the end of, August. So it's possible, I guess, he makes an appearance in the World Series. It'd be like Game 7, I think, maybe. But overall, a good year from him. But, yeah, he's kind of played his way out of, like, me expecting him to be out there every day with the wrecked injury history and everything. Connor Phillips was good when he was out there. It was kind of my 5th starter down the stretch. Good year from him. Like having him as an option, and he is going to be on the team next year because he's out of options. But I'm okay with that. Marco Rea came in and made a couple starts for me. He's been a top prospect for us for a while, topping out at number 79 at one point. And yeah, he was fine. Maybe he can grow next year, but at worst, he's a good reliever. And you look at, like, our offense was insane. First in pretty much every category besides base running. And our pitching was, just as good. First in runs against, first in starters ERA. The bullpen wasn't quite as good as it was last year, but that might have had something to do with our defense decreasing and, just overall bad BABIP luck. So, anyway, I'm going to set my playoff roster, and we will be back with that in just a second. All right, so the playoff roster is set. You can look really quickly here if you want, but, nothing really surprising. I guess Joe Ryan making it might be interesting, but I like his length out of the pen, and I actually think he's a pretty good reliever if I put him out there. So, and then the hitting, we're going with 14 hitters for the series. I don't think we need that many pitchers for a 5-game set. Although I'm kind of reconsidering it now that I'm thinking about it. You know what? I think I'm going to remove Schreier from the team. And I'm going to add Cantorino, I think. Let's do that. Okay. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. All right, game 1. It'll be Nola against Oakland, who will be throwing Ken Waldichuk, former Yankees great. And, yeah, they have an abysmal offense. Knock on wood. And they're 4th in runs against, so a pretty good pitching team. Although their starters don't look that impressive. So, I mean, Hagen Smith, who probably the Cy Young favorite this season, they have him. And then, kind of just a bunch of okay pitchers. Kyle Hurt's good, I guess, in theory. Anyway, Nola will grab the ball for his first start since, June. And this is kind of risky because I didn't give him a rehab assignment, obviously. So, you know what? Let's go for it. Nola will start game 1, and we lose 5-3 in 12 innings. Looks like Trent Grisham got them ahead. Nola was fine. He looked like he was on a short pitch count. And then Liendo, of all guys, who's been so good for me this year, blows it in the 12th. So we will go to game 2 in Minnesota. Zach Cauer, our best pitcher on the mound, and we win 12-1. Offense has a huge day. Correa, 5 ribbies. Looks like Palencia, Emmanuel Rodriguez, and Correa all had home runs. Calabrese had a triple. And overall, pretty good day at the office. Cauer to Petty to Ryan to close it out. And we will head to Oakland for 3 if necessary. We can win the series with 2 wins here. So Cole Henry will grab the ball in game 3, and he will be opposed by Hagen Smith, the Cy Young probable. And we win 3-1. So that's huge. We get a game off Hagen Smith. And looks like he pitched pretty well, but Oakland offense, I'm sure they let him down a couple times this year, and they do it there. So Cole Henry, a great start, 5 2/3, no earned runs, and then Dean to Liendo to Hernandez to close it out. Looks like DiMartini had 2 ribbies, and Shoemake had the other one. And almost everyone in the lineup besides Palencia and Correa have hits in the game. So look to close out the series. We're up 2-0. We in Oakland. Max Fried on the mound. And we lose 3-1, so we go to elimination game back in Minnesota. And looks like Fried was pretty solid, but Kyle Hurt was just a little bit better. And our only RBI driven in by Shoemake. So, to keep our season alive, we will head back to Minnesota. Ken Waldichuk against Aaron Nola. And we win 2-1. And looks like it got pretty hairy there at the end for Hernandez. But he gets it done. Nola pitches fine. Looks like he's on a pretty strict pitch count. I'm not sure why. But, I guess he's just coming back, so whatever. 64 pitches, went 4 2/3. Duran, a huge performance for him. To Liendo, to Hernandez. So there we go. There's your ALDS. We will head to the ALCS for the 4th consecutive season, where we will face the Houston Astros. With their stars, Evan Carter, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena, some familiar names. Looks like Jose Altuve has converted to the outfield as a left fielder now. Interesting development there. Pretty good offense. Finished 3rd in runs scored, 3rd in runs against. Looks like their pitching staff is led by Tyler Brown, who had a nice season, and a couple other good pitchers as well. So, we have our work cut out for us against the 96-win Houston Astros. It will be Cauer in Game 1, then Cole Henry in Game 2, Nola in Game 3, and Fried in Game 4. So let's do it. Cauer will go up against Tyler Brown in Game 1 in Minnesota, and we lose 3-0. And only 3 hits for us on the day. Cauer was not his normal self. Gave up 2 home runs, but the bullpen, does a good job, and we just couldn't get any runs off of. Looks like Tyler Brown got hurt instantly, and Lance McCullers came in and did a hell of a job in 4 innings. So we are down in the series 1-0 for the 2nd consecutive series, and Cole Henry will be on the mound to try to even us up at 1 apiece, and we do. 5-4. Looks like a decent comeback here in the 7th. We were down a run, wound up winning by 1. And looks like Danny Jansen had a 3-run home run. DiMartini a couple hits, Brooks Lee a couple hits. Shoemake continues to hit well. And Cole Henry 4 runs in 4 2/3, but the bullpen gets it done again. So we will head to Houston for 3 games here. I think I misspoke the last series. It was only we were only on the road for 2 there. But anyway, Nola will be on the mound. He's good to go. So he will be opposed by Luis Garcia, current Astro in real life. So a holdover from the old teams, and we win 3-1. Looks like Nola shut them down pretty good. 5 innings, get only 375 pitches, but the pen, once again, pitches very well. Henches to Liendo to Hernandez. And our runs were driven in by Correa, Palencia, and Jansen. Mercedes also a couple hits, batting .310 in the playoffs. Good to see out of our young guy playing center field in the series. only because I would have liked to keep Rodriguez out there, but his outfield range dropped to 55. So not a really viable center fielder anymore, or at least in this point in his career. So we're up 2-1. Max Fried will be on the mound against Luis Vega. Pretty decent arm here. And let's do it in Houston. And we lose 5-4. So the Astros look like they gave Fried a bit of a fit. Not a horrible start. He's had a couple decent ones in a row, but Chase Petty winds up blowing the game. He's been so good for us all year. I can't be too mad. And our runs were driven in by DiMartini and Jansen and Palencia as well. So, game 5 in Houston. Series tied 2-2. Cowher on the mound. And we win a 1-0 pitching duel. Looks like the only run was scored in the 4th inning. And it was Yasser Mercedes driving in the only run of the game. Cowher 5 2/3 shutout to Dean to Hernandez to finish it out. So we will head back to Minnesota, a chance to close out the ALCS and head to the World Series for the 2nd consecutive season. It will be Cole Henry on the mound against Julio Rabania. I think that's how you say it. And we lose 4-1. So we will head to Game 7. DiMartini 3 hits, but nothing really else going on there. Cole Henry, not great. And then the bullpen, good, but not quite enough. So we'll leave it up to our ace, Aaron Nola, here in Game 7. And he will face Luis Garcia, who was pretty good last game, although he took the loss. So let's do it here in Game 7 to go to the World Series. And we win 9-1. So we will head back and try to defend our title against Cincinnati. And it looks like the offense was the real stars as well as the pitching. Nola, 6-inning shutout, and to Huang for the save, the 3-inning save. Correa, 3 hits. Brooks Lee drove in 3 on a 3-run shot. The lineup continues to hit pretty well. So we will actually stay in Minnesota just 2 days later to face Cincinnati. And it'll go Cowher, Henry, Nola, Fried again. So we'll run back that same rotation. And Cowher has been pretty good this postseason. So the Cincinnati team we are playing finished 92-70. 6th in runs against, 3rd in runs scored. Old friend Royce Lewis manning third base for them. So that's a storyline to look at. And Asa Lacy is their ace. Convenient name. And he was signed as a minor league free agent. What a steal that was. Wow. Okay, so Cowher in Game 1 against Cincinnati in Minnesota. We win 10-4. Huge game by the offense. Auer has 3 hits. Good for him. Correa also 3 hits. Lee drove in 3. Looks like the home runs were by Brooks Lee, Mason Auer, and Carlos Correa. Cowher pitches well to Joe Ryan to Dean to finish it out. So up 1-0, and Cole Henry will be on the mound in Game 2. And we win 4-1. So we go up 2-0 in the series, the World Series, that is. And Palencia, he's been pretty rough this postseason, but he had looks like a 2-run home run and drove in 3 of our 4 runs. Rodriguez driving in the other. So Cole Henry, 3 innings. Looks like they kept him on a short leash for some reason. To Huang, to Duran, to Liendo, to Hernandez to finish it out. So we will go to Cincinnati for 3, if necessary. Connor Phillips is back. Unfortunately, I can't add him to the roster. So we'll just activate him from the disabled list for now. Okay, so it'll be Nola. He's good to go in Game 3 in Cincinnati. And we lose 3-1. Marco Rhea also back. Looks like the offense was, we got hits. We got 7 hits, but couldn't drive in runs when we needed it. Nola was a little rough. Duran, he continues to pitch really well this postseason. Kind of redeemed himself for the awful regular season. And Liendo is good as well. So 2-1 lead. We lose 3-2. So we just like that, the series is tied again at 2 apiece. Looks like Chase Petty blew that one after a pretty good freed start. So, caller in Game 5 to give us a 3-2 series lead. You know, the rubber match, as they say. I guess not. But we lose 6-5 in heartbreaking fashion. Looks like it was a Joe Adele single. DeMartini, Spencer Jones, and Yasser Mercedes drove in our runs along with Brooks Lee. Collier wasn't himself, and then Chase Petty blew it again. So just to, avoid that happening, potentially again, we're going to do this. Get him out of that 7th inning role and more into low leverage because he has been kind of rough this postseason. So we're down 3-2. Heading into Game 6, we have Cole Henry on the mound, who's been he's been up and down this postseason. So I'm trying to keep our season alive here against Cockeries. I don't know how the hell to say his name. So to keep our season alive, we win 4-3 in a pretty valiant comeback. We go down 3-0 initially and then chip away for 4 runs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings. Our offense was led by Calabrese and Yasser Mercedes, who's had a nice playoff. Cole Henry, not himself as usual, but the bullpen, once again, gets the job done. So, Game 7, for the second consecutive series and third consecutive series, we go the distance. Here in Minnesota, Aaron Nola on the mound, trying to, complete our repeat, potentially. So, he will be opposed by Dalton Jeffries, who, pretty decent arm, throws a lot of innings. So, let's do it in Minnesota, and we win 5-1 to win our second consecutive World Series here and out of the Park Baseball 24 in the 2027 season. Nola puts on a hell of a performance to Duran, to Liendo to finish it off. And the heroes of the game kind of spread around. So Rodriguez, Lee, DeMartini, Palencia, and Calabrese all had RBIs in the series. And let's see, it looks like Carlos Correa was the series MVP. And what a year from him, overcoming a lot of adversity to, win the World Series MVP and his second consecutive title as the heart and soul of this team. So that'll be the episode. Thank you for watching. We wind up, let's go to the next day so we can see the announcement. It's always cool to see. Wow, I never thought we'd make it create this dynasty so quickly. So there we go. World Series champions, and this is the team who did it. Pretty impressive. We had a lot of guys come up. And I didn't mention Matt Wallner got left off the postseason roster. He still gets a ring, so he can't be too upset. But, yeah, he had a pretty brutal season. And we'll look at his future. But he's one of, the original guys on this team, so it's going to be tough to see him go. David Garcia and his negative .7 WAR wound up getting a ring as well. So really cool stuff. And, yeah, we will head to the off-season now in next episode. That'll be episode 11, 12 maybe. And, yeah, we'll do that next time. So thank you for watching the 2027 season. And, yeah, we won the World Series for the second consecutive year. So thank you. Again, like, subscribe if you're enjoying the series. And, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.